السلام عليكم ورحمه الله وبركاته. ويلكم تو ا نيو نايت ان رمضان نايتس. النهارده ليله مختلفه. معانا المترجم الكبير دكتور محمد عامر، قامه من قامات الترجمه في مصر. من الناس اللي بتقدم حاجه مش موجوده كتير زي ما قلت في السوق، مش هنلاقيها كتير. فعشان كده محاضره النهارده ان شاء الله تكون فايدتها كبيره لينا كلنا. ممكن تفتح لحد فينا او لناس مننا مجال شغل. يعني انا زمان اول ما اتخرجنا من 1000 سنه كده اشتغلنا كلنا ترجمه، اللي هي الترجمه ايه اللي هو حد يجيب لك ورق، والترجمه مش عارف كانت ورقه الورقه بكام، والله مش فاكر. كانت حاجه رخيصه قوي، يعني كان سعر الورقه عبيط كده. وكنا بنقعد بقى نحارب وما نعرفش نركب الجمل على بعضها وتطلع الترجمه بتاعتنا زمان شبه جوجل كده، اللي هو ايه ده الكلام ده مش عربي، او الكلام ده مش انجليزي. فالمجال ده ما فيهوش ناس كتير بتتكلم في فري سيشنز. اللي شفته كله بتبقى كورسات. فاحنا بنشكر دكتور محمد ان هو معانا النهارده، وان هو بيقدم لنا حاجه مش موجوده كتير. ان شاء الله نستفيد منه ونتعلم منه كلنا. مش هضيع وقتكم. اتفضل يا دكتور محمد، المايك معاك.
تسلم لي يا مستر محمد. ثانك يو سو ماتش يعني على المقدمه الجميله دي حقيقي، وانا
الله
فرحان جدا
يكرمك.
ان انا موجود النهارده. وانا كنت متوقع ده لان انا كنت عارف ان المهتمين بالترجمه اكيد هيكون عددهم اقل من المهتمين بالتيتشنج انجلش as a second language or as a foreign language. عشان كده انا حبيت ان انا اخرج بره الصندوق شويه، وقررت النهارده ان انا هركز على listening و speaking skills for interpreters وكمان for teaching
حلو
or
قوي.
teachers
حلو
of
قوي.
English language.
حلو
ما
قوي.
تقلقش، هنغطي دي وهنغطي دي، فعشان نبقى
يلا انا
عشان
هطلع
نرضي كل
هطلع من
الأذواق.
الكاميرا، وانت بقى عيش حياتك. اتفضل.
تمام. Thank you so much, Mr. Mohammed, and thank you so much, Maha Sokar, for giving me the opportunity to talk today about a very interesting subject. According to me and according to all of my respectful students, I can see some familiar faces here. So thank you so much for taking so much effort into attending this session, and thank you so much for showing interest into being here, pushing me forward. So thank you so much for all, to all my students and also to Let's Academy up front. So let's start our session. I'm going to share a screen here. Yeah, here we go. Yep, I believe this is okay. Yeah, totally. So when when Mr. Mohammed and Maha asked me to give a lecture on this, so I decided to get out of the box to focus on interpreting my beloved lady, and also on uh, some skills that are related to teaching English as a second language or as a foreign language. So our subject matter will be interpreting and also listening speaking skills. So where is the beef about this? So let's relate interpreting and listening speaking skills together. But before everything, let me just take a little moment to introduce myself to those who do not know me well. I'm Mohamed Amer. I'm a coordinator of international relations and conferences at the Accountability State Authority, which is also called الجهاز المركزي للمحاسبات in Arabic. I'm also a professional certified Arabic English translator and interpreter with an experience tracing back up to 2008. Believe it or not, it's even before my graduation. And I'm also a lecturer of specialized translation and interpreting at Cairo University. And I see a lot of familiar faces from my students and Cairo University. So salute to all of you, and salute also to all of my friends and dear colleagues up in here. I can see most of them are up there. So thank you so much again. So when I related interpreting skills with listening and speaking skills, I decided to focus on two main modules of interpreting. Number one is consecutive interpreting, and number two is simultaneous interpreting. Mainly to get into depth in this, you need to know that consecutive interpreting, where you listen to a speaker, wait until he or she finishes, then you produce your own interpretation. So mainly in consecutive interpreting, you only listen in the beginning, you take notes, you wait until the speaker finishes his speech or his words or whatever he's doing, and then you produce your translation spoken. Okay, so this is consecutive interpreting. But moving to the most complicated process is simultaneous interpreting. This is the top of interpreting market here, not only in Egypt, but all over the world, where you sit in the booth alone, listening to a speaker who keeps speaking the whole time. You listen to him and you produce at the same time, and that's why it's called simultaneous interpreting. So you keep listening and you keep talking, you keep translating simultaneously, and this requires a lot of negative listening skills and also positive listening skills. So, what is the difference between uh, listening and positive listening and negative listening skills? So, you need to know that negative listening occurs when a listener keeps listening to a speaker without taking any further actions. So, this mainly happens in consecutive interpreting. You may attending a lecture, attending a session, you are in a conference or something like that. So you only listen to the speaker, not taking any further actions. You can take some notes, but I'm talking about no action at all. So keep listening, and that's it. Okay, so let's move to the other concept here as positive listening, which occurs when a listener keeps listening all the time to the speaker, but in the same time he does an activity which may be taking notes, recording, shorthanding, and even speaking with a decollage. For those who work in interpreting, they know exactly what a decollage is. So let's give a question here. Let's ask a question to those who do not work in interpreting. Do you know what a decollage is? A decollage. Do you know the answer of this? If you know the answer, you can raise your hand and open your mic to answer this little question. If you are not an interpreter, so, as I expected, yeah, exactly as I expected. So, only interpreters know this particular term. So, when I ask my own students, my own colleagues about decollage, especially and simultaneous interpreting, and if you are available to answer this, some of you would say that this is the span of time that you take from the beginning of the speech up till you start translating. So it's only like 2 seconds or 3 seconds. So when you sit in a booth alone, listening to a speaker, you consume only 2 seconds or 3 seconds in order to process and start your own sentence. So this is what we call decollage. Decollage, it's a lapse of time or the time you consume in order to process. Yeah, exactly. That's the time you take during translation or during interpretation in the beginning. So the speaker starts, you can wait for only 2 seconds or 3 seconds at most, not longer than this, and then you start translating from one language to another. So what are you doing through this decollage or these 3 or 2 seconds? You can process your own sentence in one language, whether in Arabic or in another language, maybe in Arabic, maybe English, whatever the language that you're working at. So I have a question here, which is written in French. I think this is going to be a problem here. So I don't know even how to pronounce it. So it vous. So this is the right way to pronounce this question. So why this is mentioned in French? Uh, do we have any French speakers here? Those who know some French, because my French is not that strong. We do not have French speakers. Oh, so all of us are English. Oh my God. Yeah, wait. Yeah, I have some private answers here. Yeah, exactly. Glottophobia is a phobia of being judged by accent. So when you exactly. When you stand before people and you speak English with an accent, if you are a second language, if English is second language to you, so this is called glottophobia, the fear of being judged by your own accent. And you can ask yourself, why is this happening to me? Why I'm judged all the time because I have an accent, because I'm not a native speaker? Imagine it or not, you will be judged all the time because there is something that's called xenophobia or linguistic xenophobia or discrimination against different accents. And this is a term that in English it's called glottophobia, but it's mainly taken from French. It's glottophobia. Okay, so what kind of fear or problems that you can meet in giving a speech or interpreting or giving a presentation in English? This is a question to all of you. Can you please mention some of your fears? What are you so afraid of when you speak English before people? I mean, before people. Can you please answer this question, because we want to make a remedy for this to all of you. So okay, here we go. Here we have some answers here. Exactly, stage fright. What else? Yeah, I'm afraid of being judged. Okay, so what are you judged for? Yeah, okay, here we go. Another answer here, committing mistakes. Okay, that's wonderful. That's good. Okay, so all of us, when we speak English before audience, before people, yeah, some people say bullying. Okay, this is too harsh. Okay, so Heba, have you been bullied before? Making mistakes, Dr. May, thank you so much. Bullying, making mistakes. So it's all under judgment. You're put under pressure when you speak English before people, ashamed, maybe speaking in front of a man. Yeah, exactly. If you are a female speaking before a group of males or group of men, you can totally be afraid. Bullying, again, I think this is, oh my God. Looks like we have a majority here for bullying. Okay, so mainly if you speak English before people, if you are an interpreter, if you are a speaker of English, if you are giving a lecture, giving a presentation, whatever you do. So, number one, fear of judgment. Fear of judgment. Am I wearing good clothes? Am I looking good? Do I look good? And so on. So, if you are a man, if you're a woman, you can also feel the fear of judgment. Number two, fear of committing mistakes. And we all have this particular issue, being unable to deliver the correct message exactly, the fear of committing mistakes, not being understood. So this is number two. Number three, fear of anxiety and hesitation. I can say uh all the time because I have this anxiety or hesitation. I can use a lot of pauses and a lot of redundancy. I keep repeating myself. I keep repeating what I say every single time. And finally, fear of stage, which is a comprehensive term that includes all of these. So stage fright mainly includes judgment, committing mistakes, and anxiety, hesitation, being bullied, being laughed at, everything. So it happens to interpreters, it happens to teachers, it happens to speakers of English or any other foreign language before people, but it's a condition to be before people. So I don't think this will apply to simultaneous interpreters, because simultaneous interpreters mainly sit in a booth, so they are not exposed to people. But you need to know, and this is not legit at all. You know that France has passed a resolution, a decree in 2022 delegalize discrimination against accents and dialects. So this is a reality here that we live with, and I believe this is. I wish this happens here in the Middle East in order to avoid a lot of psychological issues that are related to speaking before people. And I know a lot of people who can't speak Arabic, even Arabic before people, because we have the same problems with the stage fright, with the fear of judgment, and everything. So I believe this is going to be a problem to a lot of people. But how how to solve the problem. Number one, you need to know that you are not native, so you will always have this accent, you'll always have this dialect. But what about the native people? There is a fun fact that you need to know. A whopping 75% of United States citizens speak English only. So you can think about this. You are a native speaker of Arabic because you are Egyptian, you are from Middle East Europe, you are from the Arab world. So number one, you are a native speaker of Arabic. So this is one language. Another language that you are learning English, and I know a lot of people learning French, German, Italian, and other Spanish, maybe other language, Russian, Chinese, and other languages. So you can call yourself a bilingual person. If you are more than this, you are a polyglot. So you are much better than the majority of native people. And this is a fun fact. You are afraid of nothing because you only have this problem with your mind, with thinking about other people's opinion about you. So, fun fact, you are much better than the majority of the American and British people. And this moves us to another subject, which is the global English theory. So you can meet an American man, you can meet a British man. So do they speak English in the same time, in the same way? Africans, Russian people, Asians, other nationalities, do they all speak English the same way? Of course not, and that's why we have accents and dialects. And even in America, there are different dialects from east to west, from north to south. They have different dialects. So, and they don't judge themselves, they don't judge other people for their accents and dialects. So don't make this too hard on yourself. So you are a bilingual person, and mostly I know a lot of people are polyglots, so you need to cheer up because you are much better than other people. So if you are a polyglot, if you are a bilingual person, you need to know what is English biased. Are you English biased? So English biased means that it's not a stigma in the first place. So in order, because a lot of people think that I need to learn American accent, I need to learn British accent, European accents, and other accents. Are you English biased? English bias is normal because you need to know that you can speak English by the Egyptian way, the Arab way, and by the way, the Egyptian accent speaking English is one of the most clear accents that you can use. So please don't be ashamed of your English biased accent. You are Egyptian man, you're an Arab, you're a woman, it doesn't matter. So don't be ashamed of this because it will always happen. So you're not a native speaker of English. That's why we call ourselves ES learners or English as a second language learners. Okay, so being bilingual makes you more of multitasking and task switching than a monolingual person. You can imagine how much tasks that you can solve, that you can do in the same time more than a monolingual person. So you are a learner of English, a learner of French, Italian, Russian, any other language besides Arabic, of course, because you are a native speaker of Arabic. So this makes you much more of a multitasking person because a lot of studies and a lot of researches prove that we have a different kind of mind, of thinking, mentality, mindset. And we're going to have a game with each other very soon in order to prove this to all of you. So you need also to know another important information that over 25% of the British people feel judged due to English bias because if you are watching TV series from Britain, like, for example, Black Mirror, like Peaky Blinders, Game of Thrones, you can see that they have much more different dialects and much more different accents within one accent, and you can feel yourself. Yeah, I'm much better speaking English than these people. I can speak English, and it's important to feel that the most important thing about this is to be understood. So you deliver the message in the right way. So why are you just getting your mind busy with other people's opinion about your accent and everything? So mainly this is a little game that we're going to play with each other. I just want a volunteer to raise his hand in order to read the left side from green to green. So do we have a volunteer here to read this out loud? Out loud. I need a volunteer, please. Could you please raise your hand? Okay, Rufaida. Hello, Rufaida. How's everything? Rufaida, could you please open your mic?
Yeah. Okay.
Hello, Rufaida. So our
Hi.
game based on reading the left side from green to green, but as quick as possible. Okay, Rufaida, can you do this?
Okay. Okay.
Okay, here we go.
Green. Yellow.
Quickly.
Red. Black. Red. Green.
Okay, wonderful, Rufaida. This is a very, very nice example of quick mind. Green, yellow, red, black, red, green. Okay, this is very quick. Okay, Rufaida, I want you
Thank
to move to the right side. I want you to read the color itself, not the word, the color.
The color.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Green. Yellow. Red. Black. Red. Green.
Okay, so Rufaida, be honest with me. Did you think much about this?
A little bit.
Yeah, exactly. And this is why we are bilinguals, because we think about the color itself, not the words. You have
Yeah.
the mentality. You have the mentality. I don't want you to read the word. I want you to read the color. So you kept thinking about the color itself, not the word. Okay, we have another volunteer. Hello, Nosaiba, if I'm pronouncing this right.
Nusaiba.
Nusaiba. Okay, thank you so much, Nusaiba. And Nusaiba, could you please repeat the same process? The left side.
Yeah, red, black, green, yellow.
No. The left side from green.
Green, yellow, red, black.
Green. Okay, wonderful. So Nusaiba, please move to the right side, and I just want you to read the color itself, the color, not the word.
The color green.
Yeah.
Green.
Green. After that, we have
green,
yellow.
red.
No. Vertically, not horizontally.
Green, yellow.
Yeah.
Red.
Yeah.
Black.
Yep.
Red. Green.
Yep. Green. Wonderful. Okay, Nusaiba, be honest with me. Did you think too much about this?
What?
Did you think too much about this?
These are words.
Okay, so it was much easier to read the word itself, green, yellow, red, black, red, green, because the color matches with the word itself. But on the right side, we have some disruption about this, because you need to separate between the word and the color. Okay, so Nusaiba, thank you so much for your effort, and I know it's not easy at all. So, fun fact to all of our bilingual friends, do you know that only bilingual people can pass this test, which is called STROOP test, from the first time correctly? So if you are a monolingual person, you need to repeat this process for like twice and thrice in order to make it correct. But if you are a bilingual speaker of Arabic, speaker of English at the same time, you can move your head, move your bones in order to do this. But it will take effort, of course, and it's difficult in the beginning, of course, but from the first time, you can do it in the right way. So only bilingual people can do this. So if you are an interpreter, if you are a teacher of English, you can do this. And this is the bliss of language, I believe so. So don't make it too much on yourself to feel embarrassed, to feel so afraid of other people's judgment and other people's opinion about your performance before people, if you are an interpreter, a teacher, giving representation, or anything. So, in order to give a listener-friendly speech, whether you are interpreting or giving a presentation, you need to follow some rules. This is a little pyramid that is particularly designed in order to show you what matters really in your sentence in English to the listener. So I speak English all the time. So what kind of components that I need to focus on in order to make the listener understand me 100%? Is it vowels, consonants, word endings, stress, rhythm, intonation, inflection? Imagine this. It doesn't matter the vowels that you use, and it matters less the consonants themselves. You can focus on three or even only two components: word endings, if they are three, stress and rhythm, intonation and inflection. So, what about vowels and consonants? Do they matter? Of course, they matter, but they are not a priority to you. And that's why when you use a word like a fruit and fruit, so you can see when I say I want to eat fruit and I want to eat fruit, does it make a difference if I said I like to eat some fruit? Of course not, because the other person will totally understand that I need to eat fruit. So this is an easy example of using the understandable meaning of a word. So, of course, the other person knows that it's fruit, not fruit, but he totally understood because he built the meaning itself from the word, from the not only the pronunciation of the word, but the components of the word itself. So you can see another example here: ship and sheep. Sorry, ship and sheep. So if you are at a port and you'd like to reserve a ticket to travel to another port, so when you say to a friend of yours that you are taking a ship to the other port, so if you said I'm taking sheep to the other port, does it make a difference? Is it funny? Is it wrong? Of course, it's wrong, but it will be totally understandable because other people and other listeners can totally relate the meaning to the way you pronounce the word. So it doesn't matter if you pronounce it ship and sheep. But this is not a call from me to commit mistakes in our conversations and our interpreting into English. So if you committed a mistake, and we always keep committing mistakes concerning our pronunciation, our intonation, rhythm, and everything, it's not the end of the world. It's all about performance and the way you say the word itself. So it's mainly because our minds read according to the first letter and also the prediction of the remaining syllables and letters. And that's why when it starts with fruit and fruit, some people can judge your own pronunciation and meaning from the first letter, but other people will also understand that you mean fruit because it ended, because they predicted the remaining um, letters of the word. Okay, so why do we always focus on stress and intonation? Why this is the base of the pyramid? So let's get back to the pyramid again, and we found ourselves focusing on endings, rhythm and sound, and also stress and intonation. Why is this? Because the way you pronounce a word, the way you shout or decrease your voice makes it much more clear to give the meaning to other people. Because if I'm a teacher and I asked a student of mine, what is the time now? If I shout, what is the time now? It can mean that the student can be a bit late for the lecture, and he just arrived and he just showed up. But when I ask a man, what is the time now? With this voice, with this intonation, with this stress, does it make a difference? Of course, it makes a difference because the intonation, the pitching itself, the way I say the word, and the way I say the interpretation of the word makes a difference. So, what is the time now is violent. What is the time now is light. And they are the same words, the same letter, the same syllables, the same everything. It's only about intonation. Okay. So, if you are an interpreter if you are a teacher of English language, if you're giving a presentation, if you're expected to give an interview, if you're applying to a job, you can train yourself on two main artificial intelligence pronunciation applications, which are the favorite to me. Number one is Elsa, of course. Most of you, not yeah. Exactly. I've got some private messages here about Elsa. Yeah, exactly. It's for free. Not all features of Elsa are for free, but Elsa mainly is for free, but just only professional features you can pay for them. So Elsa is number one. Number two is Bold Voice. So what about these two main applications? How are they going to help you with interpretation, with translation into English, and also giving presentations? Exactly, Rufaida. Elsa's good. You tried it before. Thank you so much, Rufaida. So, how are you going to use Elsa and Bold Voice? We have a little contribution here. So, Rufaida, could you please tell us your experience about Elsa? Hello, Rufaida. Could you please um, open your mic and tell us about your experience about this?
Okay, actually, Elsa was good, and
Yeah,
I practiced English with it for a while, but
yeah,
it wasn't free, so I deleted it.
yeah. You deleted it.
Yeah.
So, what mainly was the use of Elsa to you?
Sorry?
So, how did you use Elsa mainly?
Okay, I used it to practice speaking.
Speaking. So you can speak with another person or just pronouncing words and expressions.
Actually, I remember that I tried the pronunciation too.
Exactly. This is the main use of Elsa. Thank you so much, Rafida,
Yeah,
for your contribution to our lecture.
thank
Elsa
thank
is
you.
an application. It's a very famous one. It's a very popular one. Elsa is an AI application on our mobile phones. Yeah, it's not totally for free, but a lot of features of it as are for free. You can totally download it, and it has a mobile phone application, and it can be a computer, a desktop, or a laptop application as well. So you can find yourself looking for the pronunciation, the right pronunciation of certain expressions. Okay, so we have another free application that's called Bold Voice. Bold Voice is mainly like Elsa, and it's totally for free. Bold Voice is a very important application that you can make sure of the pronunciation of of certain words, certain expressions. And by the way, there is another application that I always tell my students about, but I didn't mention here in the presentation. Sorry for this. It's called WordUp. I'm going to write it here. Here we go. Yeah, here we go. WordUp. WordUp. Here we go. This is a very nice application that you can totally download it from the Play Store on your phone, and you can pronounce a lot of words. And it's very beneficial to all interpreters in order to um, train and beef up their memory and short-term memory, because when you work in interpreting, you need a lot of words, expressions, and also alternatives in the same time in order to make your mind much more stronger than this. Um, Also, WordUp is totally for free, by the way. So I always tell my students to use WordUp. It's pretty easy. You can download it from the Play Store, and it displays some words on screen. One word is like, for example, infrastructure. So it says infrastructure. So it asks you to repeat the word, and also you can train yourself on giving the Arabic meaning of infrastructure. So you can say infrastructure. After that, you can say بنية تحتية. Okay, so if you're an interpreter, you can say the Arabic word. If you're only a teacher of English, you can say infrastructure, how to pronounce the words. Another annoying word in English, which is suggestion. The word suggestion, you can repeat the word suggestion like 10 times, like suggestion. This is going to be annoying to your tongue, to the way you pronounce the word because of the ja and sa together, blended together. And in the application, it can also record the way you pronounce the word, and after that, you can play the record again in order to monitor and give feedback concerning your performance with the pronunciation. So if you're an interpreter or an English teacher, you can totally use these three applications: Elsa, Bold Voice, and the top of which is WordUp. WordUp is much better than these, but Elsa is popular, because it's a paid application, but it's not all of it is paid, that you can use some of its features. Okay, why is it important to focus on stress and intonation? Because both together they formulate what we call prosody, the way you express yourself, the way you express your own translation and interpretation, or even your English speaking before people, how to stand before people, how to speak boldly before people, and to convince other people of your performance. This is very important. Okay, so why is intonation important for our business as interpreters and also as English teachers? Because you can see the difference between a word like username and username. So if there are no syllables and no stress over syllables, you can see that the pronunciation of both words, username and username, can be totally correct, can be totally capable of giving the same meaning. Username, 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 username. You can repeat this together, and you can say yourself repeating username, 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 username all the time. Your surname, your surname, your surname. Your surname can be turned into username. So intonation makes difference in meaning, difference in understanding the meaning itself. So you can say username, username, and in the second way, your surname, your surname, your surname. Okay, so this is very important. Look at this. This is a very important and very funny example of intonation. The word committee, committee, which in Arabic lagna, and comedy, comedy. If the stress is switched from one syllable to another, you can say committee, 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 and the other one is committee, 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 committee. But it's committee and comedy, committee and comedy, and that's why we always focus on the way we put the stress on different syllables. If it's not correctly put, you can say committee, which means comedy. Okay, so this is a big problem to be solved. We have some applications that I totally recommend to all interpreters and speakers of English language. If you are training your mind, if you are using transportation on a daily basis like me, I go back forward and forward to my job. When I sit in a car, when I sit in a bus, moving to my work and getting back to my home, it's not all about TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook and everything, but we have different applications to use on our mobile phones, the top of which is the podcast application. And we have a lot of free podcast applications. And some of them can work offline because they have some storage that can give you a free access to channels, to news, to lessons, learning platforms, and everything. So, according to my opinion, I like SoundCloud. SoundCloud can be annoying in looking for songs and everything, but SoundCloud is a very good way to train yourself on recording your own voice, interpreting, teaching, giving presentation, doing shadowing, because this is very important for both of us as interpreters and English teachers. So you can listen to lessons and also record yourself giving lessons, speaking, or doing shadowing. This is a very important practice to do. You need to record your own speech every single day. So if I listen to a short audio for like 2 minutes, I can do a little practice like um, shortening the or summarizing what I listened to, and then express the same audio but in my own words, and I need to record it. So when I compare the original one, when I compare the original audio to my own production, I can see the difference in meaning production and meaning making process and the pronunciation itself, intonation, rhythm, and everything. So you can totally do this at home. and even in your transportations every day. So you can download podcast. I like, there is another application here that I didn't mention here, that which is called Podcast Addict and Podcast Go. These are two. Podcast Addict, and a Podcast Go. These are two important for our training. So, how to defeat accent bias, how to defeat the stage fright that you can feel when you are on stage interpreting, giving simultaneous interpreting, or consecutive, mainly consecutive interpreting, or even giving a presentation or giving a lecture to other people. How to do this? Okay, yeah, it's called Rufaida. It's called Podcast Addict and Podcast Go. Here we go. I'm going to write it here. Podcast Go. These two are perfect application, Podcast Addict and Podcast Go. So if you are before people, doesn't matter the number of which, number one, you need to build rapport. So building rapport is very important. Giving lectures, giving um, presentations, doing interview, giving interpretation into English is very important to you, to build a rapport with the audience, how to feel welcoming and welcomed in the same time, how to feel friendly with the people that you are talking to. Number two, confident tone, which is very important. A lot of people can do a lot of good job and a lot of good business speaking English, but they are not confident enough. Your translation, your interpretation can be perfect, no single grammatical mistake, but you don't look confident enough to convince me about your interpretation. So this is very important. Confident tone, how to raise your voice and how to decrease it, how to lower it, how to make stoppage, how to give a flow of your own speech, how to do this. This is what makes us confident, look confident. Well, a lot of us can commit a lot of mistakes speaking English or even in Arabic, but being confident can hide these mistakes easily. And you need also to use a listener-friendly speech. It's not a conflict. It's not a problem to stand before people and you can look so gloomy and so afraid, so hesitant. Being listener friendly, being audience friendly is very important. And I'm going to show you how to look friendly with people. First, let's focus on the body language, some body language tips in order to look good before people. Number one, you need to have an engaged posture. Yeah, if I'm standing, I can't stand here, but you need to show your body as engaged enough. You're not putting your hands in your pockets. You can't put your hands like here on your waist. Engagement, you can use your own hand gestures and facial gestures in order to feel welcoming and welcomed in the same time. Number two, being calm and relaxed. So you're not sweaty. I can see a lot of speakers when they speak, and even if it's not hot, they can get sweaty all the time, but it's not hot. So this is a mark or a sign of hesitation and anxiety, stage of fright, and a lot of problems. Slow breathing, and you can see a lot of people are like, they are speaking English or even Arabic with. Ah, ah. This is a very clear sign of stage of fright. So there is a little practice that we always do when we feel hesitant, when we feel anxiety. It's like holding our breath for like 10 seconds, like hold, and then for 10 seconds, giving it out. You can repeat this process like 2 times, 3 times before you go into a stage, before you giving your interpretation or giving a lecture. You can feel your heartbeats getting getting much less. Okay, so correct hand gestures, and I know a lot of people can point to other people like, "Hey, you can't say this, you can do this" to other people. when we do interpretation, especially in consecutive interpreting, when we introduce other people to each other, I can say like here is lady, for example, lady Shaima or lady Rufaida. A lot of people can say here is a lady Rufaida. This is a very impolite way to address people. You can say here is lady Rufaida, the pretty lady Rufaida. You can say this, but using the correct hand gestures play a very important role in showing yourself as a professional, as a gentleman, in order to look good in the future. Mirroring the interviewer, which is not a very recommended practice, because a lot of people can feel uncomfortable with being mirrored, because when I tried this with another interviewer, he felt like, why are you imitating me? Because the man kept doing like this. I can't see if you can see. You can see me. He did this, and I did the same process. And when he noticed this, he told me, why are you imitating me? But it made me much more comfortable when I tried to mirror him. Okay, so number 6, correct eye contact. Please, for God's sake, you need to focus on this. We are not looking to people on their eyes. We are looking here on the forehead. So if you are giving a lecture, interpreting before people, before a minister, before a president, before even a random client, do not look at the man in his eyes. It's all about here. Avoid lying signals, and all of us give lies all the time, and a lot of us lie all the time, and you look like compromised. I know you're lying because of doing like this, scratching your nose. You can put your hand around your waist and everything. These are lying signals that can compromise your performance before people. Never look at no-nos. If you are a man, do not look at certain points in a woman's body. So always with the eye contact here. Okay, no other parts. Get rid of an anxiety before you go on a stage. Before you go on a stage, this is very important. Do not deal with an anxiety on the stage, because you cannot stand before people and do the breathing process, like we said, like and holding and then getting out. So this is not going well before people. So you need to do this practice before you go on a stage. Number 10, perfect handshake. When you are uh, handshaking other people, you need to raise your hand a bit late and do like this. So it's not like lowering your hand. It's not like you're holding a pistol or a gun or something like that. So there is a good way to give a handshake before people. Okay, so if you are giving a presentation, if you are an interpreter, consecutive interpreting before people, you're going to stand on a platform, on a stage, speaking English, and even in Arabic. This can apply to Arabic as well, but you need to follow some steps to be a good presenter, to be a good consecutive interpreter before people. Number 1, focus on the audience. Please do not focus on yourself. You need to focus on how they think, how they feel, and what they do. A lot of people can be in audience, can be holding their mobile phones, can be even picking their nose, they can be laughing. They are not laughing about you, they are just laughing. So when you think about what they think, what they feel, what they do, you can switch your own performance. You can modify your own performance um, according to their own deeds that they are, and according to their actions as well. So if they are not interested enough, if they are not interested enough in your presentation, in your interpretation, they can feel like they are holding their notes. They can be chit-chatting with other people. So you can just raise your hand, raise your voice. You can do some dramatic actions on the stage in order to attract their attention again. Number 2, delete excess texts using pictures. If you are a teacher, if you are giving a presentation, please, for God's sake, use a lot of pictures. You can look at this presentation. For example, I do not put some or too much words here, but only signs to help me move forward with the presentation. So all with the pictures, all with the signals, with the signs, in order to make the presentation much more comprehensive. Number three, keep it simple. Please, for God's sake, less is more. Do not put much expressions. And I know a lot of people who can fill the slide with more than 250 words per one slide, which is a total disaster for any presentation. And a lot of people, when I see a lot of professors, university professors do this, I keep like just surfing my mobile phone. So you're giving me the reason to leave the room out. You're giving me the reason to feel bored because of this. So when you give a presentation, please make sure that you follow this rule. Less is more. Weightings and size, so you can uh, decrease your own words and increase your own signs. Rehearse, and this is the very important tip to follow. Rehearse once, twice, and thrice. And before I go to, and even mobile phone interpretation, telephone interpreting, or online interpreting, I do a rehearse about my performance once, twice, and thrice. Uh, the vocab that I know, the grammatical rules that I'm going to follow, the register, the kind of terminology that I'm going to use. I need to rehearse all the time. And even before this lecture, even before this webinar, I try to rehearse this more than once, because it's very important to look confident. It's very important to look ready before people. Here we go. Number five, make friends with people, which is very important before you go on stage. Before you go on stage, interpretation, teaching, giving presentation, you need to make friends with people. So, number one, you need to arrive early, so not on due time. First, you go on the place. Let's see, lighting is good, technology is good, laptop is working, voice is okay, sound is wonderful. Let's shake some hands with some people, exchange number. This will make you much more comfortable, because if you are comfortable with people, you can totally focus on them all the time. If you felt um, anxious or you felt hesitant, you can focus on those people. They will be like the comfort zone that makes you much more comfortable. Number six, which is my favorite here, is to dress to impress. Every single time I go to give a interpretation or a presentation in a university, in a conference, in a meeting, in an international event, I intend to put my best and most favorable clothes, perfume, shoes, and everything, in order to boost my own confidence to the highest level. So always, not it's not limited to women. It also applies to men. We can put a lot of nice clothes, shoes, and everything. Okay. Number seven, make friends with yourself. Exactly. There is to impress. Make friends with yourself. Feel comfortable. This is not going to be the end of the world. We all committing mistakes. We're all committing mistakes. And we will always keep committing mistakes. Don't be afraid. Don't. No one is going to judge you. So you just give a presentation. You just give an interpretation, and you know that you committed some mistakes. Was it fatal? Was it acceptable? Do they judge you? No, they judge whether you give or you deliver the message in the right way or not. So just don't think about what they think about you. Okay, so you need to feel comfortable with yourself. Number eight, stand still. Avoid moving too much. And I know a lot of people who are standing on a stage keep moving their hands and their bodies all the time, moving from right to left, from left to right, and it's, oh my God, this makes you much more than that you can imagine and you can think. So just stand, and stay in a certain place. And I see a lot of speakers on channel, TEDx channel on YouTube, and they keep moving all the time. I know this is uh, attracting attention, but if it's too much, if you are just running from one side to another, a lot of people going to say, what's that crazy man doing? Because you're moving too much, you're not, and instead of attracting attention, you're losing their attention. Okay, and finally, tell a story, amuse the audience before interpretation, before giving a presentation, before talking to people. You need to tell a story. This is going to boost your confidence before people. Amuse the audience with giving anecdote, with giving a joke, with shaking some hands. Just amuse the audience, always with the laughter, always with the smile. And I do remember a lot of times when I committed mistakes with my interpretation, and it looks like when I laugh out loud, a lot of people like they are laughing with me and they forget about the mistake that I just did. So you can easily solve a little problem with a laughter. So instead of getting a gloomy face or a poker face or a worrying face, you can just laugh, even laugh at yourself. You can amuse the audience and make them more interactive with you. Finally, be enthusiastic. For God's sake, you need to market yourself before and after the presentation, before your work, before your interpretation. You just finish your own interpretation from one language to another. You need to market yourself, exchanging phone numbers, exchanging business cards, and everything. Okay, so I believe we have reached the end of our presentation just on time. It's been 1 hour. Thank you so much, Mr. Mohamed Ibrahim, for giving me the opportunity to talk today, and also my sister Maha Sukkar for this nice opportunity. And by the way, I'd like to tell you, Ramadan Kareem. I forget to tell you this in the beginning. Ramadan Kareem, and also Happy Easter to all our Christian brothers and sisters. Thank you so much for this opportunity, and one doesn't get the privilege to be with Mohamed Ibrahim and Sukkar every day. Thank you so much.
شكرا لحضرتك والله، انت اللي
دكتور
نورتنا.
محمد،
ربنا
اللي
يخليك يا
نورتنا
جميل،
والله.
تسلم لي.
شكرا ليك، شرفتنا ونورتنا.
شكرا ليك والله، نورتنا والله.
ربنا يخليك يا رب، تسلمي.
ومس اسماء نورتنا برضو النهارده.
ربنا حضرت المره دي اهو، خلاص الحمد لله.
ايوه خافت.
انا سمعت انه ما بيحضرولكش. والله يا دكتور انا مش عايز اتكلم، يعني احنا
مش
عايزين
عارف والله اتصرف
مش
ازاي،
فاهم
مش
بصراحة.
مسيطر خالص.
انا بخلي العيال كلهم، العيله كلها بتحضر عندي، فشوف لك حل بقى.
انا عيالي هيحضروا قريب والله.
ربنا يبارك لكم يا رب.
والله نورتونا وسيشن جميله والله، تسلم يا رب، وعقبال كل مره
ربنا
ان شاء
يخليك
الله.
يا رب، تسلمي، شكرا جزيلا حقيقي.
الف شكر ليك يا دكتور، ربنا يخليك، وشرفتنا ونورتنا، وموضوع شيق وجميل جدا، ونتمنى تكون معانا دايما ان شاء الله في اي ايفنتس بنعملها.
طبعا على راسي، طبعا في اي وقت طبعا.
شرفتنا. شكرا لكم يا جماعه على حضوركم. ان شاء الله يوم الثلاث معانا دكتوره هبه عثمان من قامات التدريب في اللغه الانجليزيه، نايل تيسل وحاجات كده كتير قوي قوي قوي. يعني هي طبعا غنيه عن التعريف. هيبقى ان شاء الله بكره ما عندناش حد، يعني بكره اجازه. يوم الثلاث اخر سيشن، اخر ليله في رمضان نايتس. احتمال يكون في ليله مفاجاه مع نجم كبير، بس لسه بنجهز لها. لينك جروب يا مسمها لو سمحتي، لو مسمها لو لينك جروب لو موجود ممكن تنزليه تحطيه في
حاضر حالا. حاضر.
هنستناكم يوم الثلاث ان شاء الله مع دكتوره هبه عثمان. وان شاء الله لو جبنا النجم بتاعنا ده ان شاء الله هتبقى حاجه حلوه جدا. هنعرفكم في الجروب في التليجرام.
لا هيجي ان شاء الله، هيجي ان شاء الله، بس ليله العيد باذن الله زي ما اتفقنا.
لسه والله بكلمه، هنتفق معاه.
لا ليله العيد ان شاء الله
باذن الله
نحتفل بالعيد سوا باذن الله مع لسه اكاديمي
باذن الله. كل سنه وانتم طيبين يا جماعه، وان شاء الله ميعادنا يوم الثلاث زي ما اتفقنا. تصبحوا على خير. السلام عليكم ورحمه الله وبركاته.